My name is Jordan Blake. For years, my life has been a testament to precision and order. 20 years in the military instilled in me a discipline that now finds its outlet in the meticulously manicured expanse of my front lawn. It's more than just grass. It's a living, breathing embodiment of my commitment to excellence. Each blade is precisely trimmed, stripes so sharp they could slice through the humid summer air of our suburban neighborhood. Weeds are anathema, banished with ruthless efficiency. My house, a testament to foresight and hard work, is fully paid off. But it's the yard, that vibrant emerald carpet, that truly represents my personal victory. It's the result of countless hours of labor, investing in quality sod, and a relentless dedication to perfection. It's a statement, a quiet declaration, of pride and accomplishment that I've cultivated as carefully as the Kentucky bluegrass itself. I've always believed in leading by example, in demonstrating the tangible rewards of diligence and care. My home isn't just a dwelling, it's a sanctuary, and my yard is its crown jewel, a place of pride that I've nurtured into a near-perfect specimen. This dedication extends to every aspect of my life, from the organized tools in my garage to the unwavering commitment I bring to my engineering projects. I believe in building things to last, in creating structures, both literal and metaphorical, that stand the test of time and scrutiny. My lawn is a reflection of that philosophy. It's a challenge I've embraced, a canvas upon which I paint with fertilizer, water, and the precise hum of my professional-grade mower. The satisfaction I derive from its flawless appearance is profound. It's a visual anchor in a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable. This is my domain, my carefully constructed haven, and I guard its pristine condition with a quiet, unwavering resolve. The sheer visual impact of my lawn is something I take immense pride in. It's a conversation starter, often eliciting admiring glances from neighbors, silent acknowledgement of the effort invested. It's a source of quiet satisfaction, a tangible representation of what can be achieved with consistent effort and a clear vision. This particular patch of green is more than just dirt and grass. It's a symbol of my personal values, a daily reminder of the importance of attention to detail and the pursuit of excellence in all endeavors. The dream of owning a home with a perfect lawn was a long-held aspiration, and to see it realized, to have it not just maintained but elevated to an art form, is a deeply gratifying experience. It's a small piece of perfection in a world that rarely offers such clarity. Then, like a rogue storm cloud descending upon a perfect summer day, came Karen. She occupied a house 2 doors down, a woman whose presence seemed to radiate an unspoken authority, a self-appointed arbiter of neighborhood aesthetics. This authority, however, manifested not in gentle guidance but in a reckless disregard for the very rules she purported to uphold. Her preferred mode of transportation was a hulking, oversized SUV, vehicle that seemed to possess a mind of its own when in her hands. Every morning, precisely as the sun began its ascent, painting the sky in soft hues of orange and pink, Karen would emerge. Her approach to the corner, the one leading onto my street, was less of a turn and more of a declaration of vehicular intent. She'd accelerate with an alarming ferocity, her massive SUV hurtling around the bend as if she were vying for pole position at a professional racetrack. And with each of these aggressive maneuvers, a predictable act of vandalism would unfold. She would inevitably cut the corner too sharply, her heavy tires plunging onto my meticulously maintained lawn, gouging deep furrows into the emerald turf. The first instance, I dismissed it as an accident, a momentary lapse in judgment. I understand that mistakes happen. So, I let it slide, a silent observer as her tires churned up the delicate blades of grass. The second time, however, a flicker of annoyance began to take root. I decided a gentle reminder was in order, crafted a polite note, carefully worded, to be informative rather than accusatory, and placed it discreetly on her windshield. It detailed the damage and politely requested she be more mindful of the property lines. Her response? A deafening silence? A complete lack of acknowledgement or change in behavior? The very next morning, the familiar roar of her engine echoed. Down the street, and once again, her SUV aggressively encroached upon my lawn. This time, the damage was more pronounced. A a clear swath of flattened grass marking her passage. Enough was enough. I decided on a direct approach, a face-to-face conversation to resolve this issue amicably. I walked over to her house and knocked. On the door, a polite smile plastered on my face, ready to explain my concerns. The door opened just a crack, revealing her stern, unyielding face. Before I could utter a single word, she slammed it shut, the solid thud echoing the finality of her dismissal. That was it. The third offense was met with a door slammed in my face. The fourth, unacceptable. I had documented the previous incidents with my security cameras, capturing clear footage of her vehicular assault on my property. Armed with this evidence, I submitted a formal complaint to the Homeowners Association, hoping their intervention would bring a swift resolution to this escalating problem. The HOA, that bastion of neighborhood order and, in my experience, often bureaucratic inertia, received my meticulously documented complaint. I had provided them with clear video evidence, timestamps, and detailed descriptions of Karen's destructive behavior. The footage clearly depicted her oversized SUV repeatedly veering off the road and onto my lawn, its tires leaving unsightly tracks in the immaculate grass. One particular clip even showed her license plate, dragging precariously close to the turf as she executed her daily corner-cutting maneuver. I believed naively, perhaps, that this irrefutable proof would be sufficient to warrant a warning, or at the very least, an investigation into her blatant disregard for property rights. However, the response I received was a masterclass in passive resistance and convenient interpretation. Their reply, delivered via a curt email, stated that the evidence was not clear enough to definitively prove malicious intent or a violation of community guidelines. Not clear enough? I reread the email, a wave of incredulity washing over me. The footage was crystal clear. I could practically count the individual blades of grass being crushed beneath her tires. The license plate identification was unambiguous. It was, in my professional engineering opinion, a slam-dunk case of property damage. Their wording implied a deliberate attempt to obfuscate the truth, to shield one of their own from accountability, or perhaps simply to avoid the administrative hassle of addressing a resident's legitimate grievance. This was not merely a difference of opinion. It was a blatant dismissal of facts. The HOA stance revealed a chilling truth. The system, meant to uphold standards and resolve disputes, was failing to do so. It was prioritizing convenience over justice, bureaucracy over the well-being of its residents. Their refusal to act left me with a stark realization. I was on my own. The responsibility to protect my property, to maintain the standards I had worked so hard to achieve, now rested solely on my shoulders. The frustration was immense, a simmering anger born from the injustice of it all. I had followed the prescribed channels, presented undeniable evidence, and still, I was met with a wall of apathy. The HOA, which was supposed to be a safeguard, had become an enabler of Karen's destructive behavior. This realization marked a turning point. The polite notes and formal complaints were clearly ineffective against Karen's obstinance and the HOA's complicity. I needed a new approach, a strategy that would bypass their bureaucratic loopholes and address the problem at its root. I needed a solution that was as discreet as Karen's morning assaults were blatant. A solution that would speak a language she would undoubtedly understand. The veneer of civility had been stripped away, revealing the necessity of a more direct intervention. With the HOA's utter lack of actionable response weighing heavily on my mind, I retreated to my workshop, a sanctuary of logic and innovation. The military had taught me to think strategically, to anticipate threats, and develop countermeasures. My engineering background further honed this ability, equipping me with the knowledge to design and implement effective solutions. I knew I couldn't continue down the path of polite requests that were met with silent defiance. I also couldn't resort to any illegal or overtly aggressive actions. That would only play into Karen's hands and potentially turn me into the offender. My goal was not to retaliate in kind, but to deter. I needed something that would incapacitate her vehicle, something that would provide a clear, undeniable consequence for her repeated trespasses. And do so on my own property, well within my rights. The answer came to me in a flash of inspiration. A concept born from my understanding of physical security and vehicle control systems, scoured online databases and specialty suppliers, looking for a discreet yet highly effective deterrent. My search led me to retractable tire spikes, the kind often employed in private security zones, exclusive parking facilities, and high-security access points. These weren't the crude, aggressive spikes designed to rip tires to shreds indiscriminately. Instead, they were sophisticated, spring-loaded mechanisms designed to deploy and retract with precision. Crucially, they were entirely legal to install and operate on private property, provided they were not positioned to impede public access or safety beyond the property line. I placed a significant order, the discreet nature of the components, ensuring my intentions remained a closely guarded secret. The installation itself was a testament to my engineering acumen. I carefully measured the exact point on the edge of my lawn where Karen's tires consistently made their illegal intrusion. Using specialized tools, I excavated a precise trench, ensuring the depth was perfect for the seamless integration of the spike arrays. Each unit was embedded just below the soil line, camouflaged by a thin layer of turf. They were virtually invisible, a hidden threat lying dormant beneath the surface. The control system was equally ingenious. I wired the arrays to a discrete toggle switch concealed within the electrical panel in my garage, easily accessible from inside my house. A simple flip of the switch would activate the hydraulic or pneumatic system that would raise the spikes from their retracted position, poised and ready. The beauty of this system was its selective activation. I wasn't setting a permanent trap. It would only engage when I chose to, specifically targeting the moment of intrusion. This was precision engineering applied to the delicate art of property defense. It was designed to be a non-violent, non-lethal solution, a powerful deterrent that would make its presence known in the most undeniable way possible. The anticipation was palpable. I had invested time, resources, and a considerable amount of ingenuity into this project. The thought of Karen's habitual morning offense being met with a consequence she could no longer ignore brought a grim satisfaction. The stage was set, the trap meticulously laid, waiting for the inevitable trigger. Dawn broke with an almost theatrical flourish. The sky a canvas of soft pastels, a stark contrast to the impending drama. I sat in my living room, a mug of coffee warming my hands, my gaze fixed on the street outside. The air was still, pregnant with anticipation. I had activated the spike system a few minutes prior, the subtle hum from the garage a silent harbinger of what was to come. I watched as Karen's familiar, lumbering SUV rounded the corner, her usual aggressive angle of approach set to cut across my property. The engine's roar, a sound I had come to associate with annoyance and disrespect, filled the morning quiet. As her front passenger side tire, and then the driver's side, committed the familiar infraction, crossing what should have been an inviolable boundary, the moment arrived. A series of sharp, distinct pops, pop, 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 echoed through the stillness. It wasn't the explosive bang of a catastrophic failure, but the precise hiss of 4 tires rapidly deflating. Her SUV, caught in the sudden loss of pneumatic support, listed violently to one side, then the other. The dramatic screech of metal protesting against the asphalt followed as she overcorrected, fighting a losing battle against physics. The vehicle skidded, a chaotic dance of uncontrolled momentum before coming to an abrupt, jarring halt, its front axle now deeply embedded in the soft, yielding earth of my lawn. The maneuver that had been her trademark, her daily assertion of dominance, had now rendered her vehicle immobile, half on my property, half in the gutter. A moment of stunned silence followed, broken only by the settling of her SUV into its undignified resting place. Then she emerged. The driver's door swung open, and Karen, her face a mask of disbelief and incandescent rage, scrambled out. Flailed her arms, her voice rising in an uncontrolled crescendo of accusations. "What have you done?" she shrieked, her words laced with venom. "You've sabotaged me. This is property damage. I'll sue you into oblivion for this." I remained calm, my engineering mind processing the scene with a detached criticality. Without a word, I picked up my phone and walked deliberately towards the edge of my porch, my camera app already open. I recorded her tirade, her wild gestures, the undeniably incriminating position of her vehicle. Her demand, delivered through a torrent of indignant sputtering, was for me to call a tow truck. I met her gaze, my expression unreadable. "Welcome to call whoever you wish, Karen," I stated, my voice even. "I just hope they bring a shovel. Looks like that front axle is really digging in." The absurdity of her situation was amplified by the fact that her own vehicle's aggressive departure had effectively anchored it in the mud, pulling away bumper components and exacerbating the damage. This was not an act of aggression on my part, it was a direct proportional consequence of her own repeated transgressions. Karen, still sputtering and red-faced, escalated her complaint by demanding I call the police. 10 minutes later, the familiar blue and red lights of a patrol car turned onto the street, the flashing lights reflecting off the polished surfaces of the neighborhood's pristine homes. As the officer approached, Karen launched into her fabricated narrative, her voice a shrill crescendo of accusations, painting me as a malicious aggressor intent on vehicular assassination by lawn ornament. I calmly stepped forward, my phone still in hand, and offered my side of the story. I presented the video footage, the clear evidence of her repeated violations, the ignored complaints to the HOA, and the permit for my installed system. The officer listened patiently, his expression evolving from professional neutrality to a subtle, knowing smirk as he observed Karen's unhinged demeanor. Then came the turning point, the moment when the scales of justice, however temporarily, tipped in my favor. The officer, after a brief exchange with his dispatcher, turned back to Karen with a look that was both weary and, I suspect, deeply amused. He recognized her. Out! It turned out Karen was a local legend, albeit for all the wrong reasons. Apparently her 6 complaints filed with the HOA in the current month alone were just the tip of the iceberg. She had a documented history of cutting corners across sidewalks, obstructing mail delivery, and demonstrating a general disregard for communal order. The officer then ran her license plate through his system. The results were, to put it mildly, illuminating. Karen's SUV was not only uninsured, but its registration had expired months ago. It was a ticking time bomb of legal infractions. The officer simply shook his head, a silent testament to the sheer audacity of her behavior. Karen, meanwhile, was left standing on the curb, a picture of impotent fury. Her SUV, a symbol of her perceived status and a tool of her aggression, was being loaded onto a tow truck. She was issued citations for multiple traffic violations, her rage a palpable cloud around her. The pink cardigan she wore seemed to absorb and magnify her indignation. The legal and financial repercussions were about to rain down upon her. Within a week, a letter arrived from the HOA. It wasn't a notice of violation for me, it was an apology. They informed me that following a swift and unanimous vote, Karen had been officially removed from the HOA board. The incident, it seemed, had finally forced their hand, highlighting the very problem they had been so keen to ignore. And the ultimate punchline, the cherry on top of this meticulously planned operation? 2 days after Karen's vehicular ignominy, a professional landscaping crew arrived at her house. Her own damaged SUV, while being towed away, it managed to rip up a significant portion of her meticulously kept yard during its final ungraceful departure from the scene. It was a fittingly chaotic end to a reign of vehicular terror, a testament to the fact that sometimes the most effective solutions are the ones that are unseen, unheard, and utterly unexpected. My lawn, once again, was pristine.